In 2003, we moved to Kansas to help out a local church. Even though we served faithfully, without hesitation, in all honesty and transparency, we were hurt by leadership. We got to the breaking point of, are we going to continue to serve in this church and die spiritually, or is it time to look for a new home?
One of the hardest things in making the decision to leave the church was just the people. We love the people there. We were there for 15 years.
It was hard, but I think it was the right decision. Our plan was to take a month off, just spend time with our family and enjoy our Sundays. Started off as 1 month, then it went to 3 months, and then that turned into 6 months, and we were just so comfortable that it turned into almost 2 years. Our youngest daughter, Anna Maria, at the time was 7, Josie was 9, and David was 11 years old. So during those 2 years, they're formative years for kids. And when David started going to middle school, he was 12 years old, getting ready to enter into his teenage years. Janet and I sat down and we thought, I think it's time to go back. When we saw an invitation somewhere about going to visit a Christmas Eve service at Westside Family Church, and we decided it was time. What better time to visit a church than on Christmas Eve? It took us another 3 months to actually make the decision to go back to visit a Sunday service, but when we did, we asked the kids what they thought. They were all in, and we got ready one Sunday morning, and we were on our way to what we would call our new church home. And driving down 87th Street, we passed, at the time, Lenexa Christian Center, which we didn't know. We were driving down the street, and Janet looks at me and says, "We just passed the church." And I knew that wasn't the church that we had visited on Christmas Eve, but she was adamant that was the church that we had visited. So to prove her wrong, I made a U-turn, and I turned on Lennox Drive and drove into the parking lot, looked at her, and told her with all confidence, this is not the church that we visited on Christmas Eve. So we just said, we're here, so let's just go in and check it out. So parked, walked into the lobby, walked into the worship service, and we're still here.
Yep.
The first person I met was JD. He showed me around the FLC. He got me involved in the game they were playing since it was game day in J-High. They gave us McDonald's, and all I'm thinking is that I never knew church could be this fun.
When we first arrived to City Center Church, me and Joseph went straight to the kids ministry, and they went one by one, asked us how we were doing, how we liked the church, and they gave us each a piece of candy. It was something so small, but something I'll never forget.
We started going to 180 on Wednesday nights, and there is where the worship really happened. And then that's when I realized that it wasn't just games and all fun, is that this youth group, they go deep into the Word too.
It's been 3 years, and I've loved everything about this church.
Watching the 180 worship team worship challenged me to not just want to come to 180, but it made me want to be a part of 180. Now, not only am I a part of the 180 worship team, recently I've been invited to play drums for main service.
2 years ago, I started serving in 180 production, and just 2 weeks ago, I started serving for lights in main service.
Being a part of 180 production team is preparing me to do more in the church. Last week, I was able to shadow the video director in main service.
I love being able to use the talent that God gave me in a church like this.
When we first started coming here, Tommy and I talked about not serving in this new church for at least 6 months. And a month later, I don't see my husband sitting next to me anymore. He was up there in the cameras just getting involved already.
We couldn't stay away. God called us to serve, and He prepared us to serve. And even though we had served for over 20 years in ministry, it wasn't until we got to City Center Church that we realized how much of a ministry serving is. And it's not just me and Janet. It's our kids, our family. I love that they have a heart to serve. And we understand that this is not just work, this is ministry. And that's what we were called to do. And I'm glad that God called us here to City Center Church to do it.